The latest update in Days Gone Remastered is not just adding a 40 FPS balanced mode, it is also adding, thanks to VRR, uncapped frame rates. That means on compatible screens, you can now enjoy Days Gone Remastered with an even higher frame rate. Hello my friends and welcome back to my channel. You know the drill. Before we start, please like and share, and if you're new to my channel, please subscribe. And now let's take a closer look on the base PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 5 Pro in regards to frame rate and performance, because I like to know, of course, if my money was well spent on the PlayStation 5 Pro. And I mentioned it already in my intro that we have now, thanks to VRR, uncapped frame rates in all graphic modes, even in the quality mode, and that's the first mode we're actually looking at. And when we're now comparing frame rate or performance here, you can actually see the PlayStation 5 Pro is performing worse than the base PlayStation 5, but there's a very good reason for it. And the reason why the PlayStation 5 Pro is performing worse in the quality mode compared to the base PlayStation 5 is very simple. Resolution. When we're now looking at the base PlayStation 5, we're talking about a resolution, a native 4K resolution, and this means 3840 times 2160. That's around 8.2 million pixels. But if we now comparing this with the PlayStation 5 Pro resolution in the quality mode, we're talking about a 2880p resolution. That means we have 5120 times 2880. That means 14.7, actually a little bit more, but 14.7 million pixels. That's much more pixels to render compared to the base PlayStation 5. And now you understand why the PlayStation 5 Pro is rendering or performing actually worse compared to the base PlayStation 5 in the quality mode, because the image quality on the PlayStation 5 Pro is just superb or much higher compared to the base PlayStation 5. But let's move on. Let's take a closer look on the 40 FPS balanced mode, and here we have a very clear winner. The PlayStation 5 Pro is outperforming the base PlayStation 5 by a lot, not just in regards to frame rate, because on the PlayStation 5 Pro we're talking about an average frame rate, I would actually say between 55 and 60. It's actually really high. I mean, don't get me wrong, I know for sure there are locations in the games where the frame rate will drop a little bit more, but most of the time we're talking about a frame rate very close to 60 FPS. Comparing this now with the base PlayStation 5, the base PlayStation 5 is hardly over 40 FPS. But also we need to talk about the resolution in the balanced mode, because now we're talking about a native 4K resolution on the PlayStation 5 Pro. That means 8.2 million pixels, roughly 8.2 million pixels. Comparing this with the base PlayStation 5, we're talking about a resolution of 1800p, 3200 by 1800, which means around 5.7 million pixels. So you can see the base PlayStation 5 has a lower pixel count and lower frame rate. So the PlayStation 5 Pro here at this very moment is the clear winner. And last but not least, we have the performance mode, which is available on both PlayStation 5s, and then on the PlayStation 5 Pro in addition we have the enhanced mode. On the base PlayStation 5, the performance mode renders with 1440p. On the PlayStation 5 Pro, on the other hand, the performance mode is rendering with 1800p. The enhanced mode on the PlayStation 5 Pro is rendering with 1584p and PSSR enabled. So the 1584p resolution sounds lower, and it is lower actually compared to the 1800p resolution on the PlayStation 5 Pro, but thanks to PSSR it offers actually the better image quality. But looking at the frame rate, you can actually see that there is not much of a difference between performance mode on base PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 5 Pro, and also the enhanced mode on the PlayStation 5 Pro. I'm wondering if we have here actually something like a CPU limitation. Okay, my friends, so this was just a very quick follow-up video in regards to performance in Days Gone Remastered after the patch, because in my previous video I was actually not able to capture frame rate. I don't know what was wrong actually, but I figured it out. I know what was wrong actually. Of course I know, because otherwise anyway, you get my point. But this is actually pretty interesting, because I mentioned already in my previous video that as soon when I enabled VRR, the balanced mode on the PlayStation 5 Pro, yeah, felt like a complete different graphic mode. And I was not wrong, because switching from 40 FPS up to 60 FPS, that's a big step up. And the best thing is actually that the image quality in the balanced mode is just wow, absolutely fantastic. Also, we have PSSR support, which means actually that during motion or when you play the game, you have actually a slightly sharper picture compared to the other graphic modes thanks to PSSR. So I highly recommend actually that if you have a compatible screen with VRR and 120 Hz, that you use the balanced mode and you play with uncapped frames, because that's the best way in my opinion. Of course, 60, 70 FPS or up to 75, maybe 80 FPS in the performance mode or enhanced mode is again slightly better, but I mean, honestly, I stick with the balanced mode because higher image quality plus a very stable frame rate, actually, in my opinion, it's just perfect in my opinion, okay? So I hope we will see more options like that in the near future, and maybe we have something like that in GTA 6 as well. This would be absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much for watching me, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.